Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Infectious Geek, and I am your host, Tori Rush, and you can get me on Instagram at Rush Tori. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to put that quick plug in. With me is my co-host, Kevin.
Kevin Chaos.
Kevin Chaos, and last week he blew us away with all the conspiracy theories that he had. But I had my own. I had some conspiracy theories. So we wanted to continue on that, and let's talk about some famous conspiracy theories in the past. Like, let's talk about JFK for a minute.
JFK.
Yeah.
That's the Kellogg guy, right? That's fine.
Yeah, that's the guy. Oh. you know that um he was assassinated. We know that it was in a public place. We know
Allegedly.
allegedly. And I really think it was an inside job and they botched it. Like, it didn't work out the way that they planned it. Deep Throat exists, if everybody knows what I'm talking about there. But
Oh yeah, we know.
well, there's this like contact that I was watching this movie. I can't remember. It was about the Watergate scandal and it had a whole bunch of famous actors in it, but their contact for their media thing was called, his name was Deep Throat. That's all they knew of his name. That I want a cool nickname.
Terrible name to have.
I do have a cool nickname. Yeah, I do have a cool nickname. It's Hellcat. So there you go. Anyway, all right, I'm getting off topic. So we're okay. So the Grassy Knoll, if you've ever heard that, he was supposed to be behind the Grassy Knoll so nobody could see him. I mean, it was like what? The 50s? It was the 60s, right? When he got assassinated? I think so.
I believe it was.
Yeah. So
I'm not
early 60s.
Memory buff on this topic.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But so all right. So
I didn't come with the book this time. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The Secret Service wasn't that great back then. Obviously, they let a president die, So
fair enough.
Now they partner with the U.S. Marshal Service, with Homeland Security. They're all over the place, But back then, obviously, I wonder what it took to be a Secret Service agent back then, what criteria that was there, What do you think? Something you have to be a special.
Well, maybe it probably took a lot more than it does these days, where everybody can just hop on board, and so we get a bunch of retards at every possible position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning that my memory is not as good as it used to be, so I forget everything.
That's what the Cliff Notes are for.
Yeah. What? Anyway, so I really think it was an inside job, but CIA did it. That's my take from it. I don't know.
20 million different theories out there.
Yes, there are.
How do you decide? How'd you decide that the CIA is the one? Why do you think that?
Honestly, it's because it makes the most sense to me. Like, why would they want him dead? And what's
Simpsons
the reason?
Did it.
Huh?
I said Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it. Yeah, it's yeah. I love that episode.
It always has to be the government. They're the reason.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of it is,
9 times out of 10. I'd like that, as 40, 50, 60 years pass, we find out that all the conspiracy nuts are usually right. Eventually.
Yeah, and then they're thought of as a prophet,
It was Major League Baseball.
Okay, let's move on. I mean, there's more that we could talk about, but it's kind of been done. I mean, we're gonna do another one, 9/11. Now, there's been lots of documentaries about this. The big one with the fat director, I can't remember his name, Fahrenheit 9/11. That was a really good one. Um, there's really good conspiracy theory stuff out there. And I thought that, until I saw Loose Change and the movie that they have about 9/11, I can't remember the proper name for it. Not fire, maybe it's Fahrenheit. But anyway, all these different avenues are talking about how they're talking about the same thing. I mean, what do you think? Do you think the 9/11 was an inside job?
100%.
I
I mean, I
mean,
don't know if we're supposed to give such a black or white answer, but
yeah,
absolutely. There's no way in heck it wasn't.
yeah. So the one thing that really, really changed my mind forever was when I was watching Zeitgeist and they were talking about 9/11, and there was a pilot who flew 747s and stuff, and he was like, it would be impossible to a new pilot, even a seasoned pilot, to drive into the Pentagon because the Pentagon has a little dip in it before you reach the building. And so it's really hard to maneuver a giant plane down to the divot. You know what I mean? So I think that it was just a whole ploy to go to war,
Well,
because
one of
war
my
is a
early thoughts
moneymaker.
on it when watching it go down, because it's like whether you're in school or work or whatever, they had everybody tune in and watch the hysteria on the news. Is I thought it had to be like remote controlled or something at first. That was one of my first thoughts. It's like
Yeah.
because first off, I mean, I know we got people like I don't know the term for them, the Muslims that suicide bomb for the 72 virgins or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just
Is
say that the right way. Forgive me, listeners, but so we know that there are extremists out there. Is my point, but I still can't imagine someone. I mean, blowing yourself up walking to a building is already kind of hard to imagine. But can you imagine flying into a building?
knowing it's coming, all that. Oh
It's
my
not like
god.
you're in an emotional, panicky moment and run into a building and it's just over. I mean, you have all this time to think on the way in, so that's already
Yeah.
hard for me to imagine. And
Yeah.
you hear, and we have footage or audio in footage, I guess is more accurate to say, of all the explosions and stuff. You know,
There is
before
footage,
and
yeah.
during all of this happening, and if you watch how it falls, it's
Falls.
too perfect.
Yeah.
It's too perfect, like it's levelly dropping.
Yeah.
Like you'd
And
think
if a
it'd be
plane
tilted
really
off to the
did that
side
much,
or anything like that
yeah.
if it's because of a point of impact. You got the jet fuel. I've already started this one. That the jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel.
Right. And that's a very valid point. These are scientific facts. Because people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theory nut. So, like,
Yeah,
you don't have any facts. This is all, you're delusional. You're making this all up, right? But I'm not the only person that thinks this way. And there are cold stone scientific facts. And I
well,
just,
that's not a good argument, though, to say I'm not the only person who thinks crazy, so my crazy must be right. But I do obviously agree with this one.
yeah, because, like, I know I'm a little crazy. I mean, whatever. But, like, I also know that if I say something, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm crazy, right? So, like, back in the
I'm not
day,
crazy. Get the picture.
back in the day, like conspiracy theorists, we can go to like an ancient alien type thing for a second. The conspiracy theorists, they were really underground. They weren't allowed to speak their mind about a lot of shit. And the government does silence you if you're too loud about it. They done. Like
It's gotten different though. I mean, take for example, we have people like Alex Jones that are out there, and the
yeah.
reason he can't die though, like, and there's a reason for it. Like, if you killed him, you make everything he said right, because now we have too many conspiracy theorists. We're in this modern internet age where we for whatever reason we have ideas like Twitter. We share every thought, so we all carry around phones and cameras. It becomes much
Yeah.
harder. So they can't just kill us anymore. They have to make it misinformation instead.
Yeah, fake news, right? Fake
Yeah.
news. Oh, you can't believe it. It was on Facebook. Oh, they were trying to gaslight us and make us think that we're the problem. And it,
Oh, I hate the term
the
gaslighting.
the 99%, whenever everybody is boycotting in New York, the Wall Street and all that stuff. Like it's all documented. You used to be the hippies. They had their little communes and whatever, and they really believed that they had to live off the grid. And
Well,
there's a lot of people.
there's a lot of truth to all of that. They're more the things that they want you to have ultimately will kill you.
Yes.
Like the 5G is a good one of those things to think about. There's something called frequency sickness.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? We're plugging things into our head that wirelessly. We're walking through entire magnetic fields all the time, and now we're getting possibly, if that black goo is in these vaccines, now we're going to be much more vulnerable to magnetic fields. So
Yeah.
we're constantly surrounding ourselves with death that is toys and distractions. There's a game, Final Fantasy X, for any Final Fantasy nerds out there, and the whole plot, literally, of Final Fantasy X was there's this creature called Sin, fun name, and Sin was described as attacking the towns with the most machina or machines first. So Besaid, this like peaceful island, is one of the last places to be hit because there's like no technology pretty much there. So that's the big distraction. And who runs our technology? The government.
The government.
They constantly are trying to change.
Because Al Gore was the one that invented the internet. Didn't you know that?
What do you think about the Google conspiracy, where they can allegedly censor and affect the results of the elections by changing how the data is displayed in our searches?
I believe that.
Biased towards either
Maybe
side.
it's not as it didn't really happen in the last election, but I think the technology is out there to do it.
Well, I know that it can. That was the big talking point a few years ago, is that they could do this if they wanted to. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have in very subtle ways.
Yeah.
Like how Facebook, where anything on COVID or against COVID or even just questioning stuff about COVID now has to have a big banner next to it to let you know. And there used to be stuff on YouTube, which is owned by Google, stuff like shadow banning, so you don't even know you're banned. You think you're uploading videos to your followers and they just stopped watching for some reason. But no, they just put it to where it's invisible to everybody but you. And then they changed it up again. And now if you're, what's the right word? This is not conspiracy nut. Woke isn't the right word that I'm looking for. Truther. There we go. Okay. If you're a truther type account, then what they'll do is they'll filter your results to be the end of the results instead of the beginning of the search. So that next to nobody will find you that way either. And they'll find certain words with the robots. You got to figure, we've been spending time on technology for however many years with our autocorrect. And so it's learning us with our voice dictation. And so it's learning us. So the computer can, as I'm browsing YouTube or whatever, can hear me talk about or see me type about something and change everything about how it's going to work due to my word selection.
And that's creepy. That's creepy as hell. Like, the Big Brother was always there. Big Brother was always watching us, yada, yada, yada. But like, honestly, like, I don't want Google knowing my intimate details of what I'm talking to my partner about.
Like choice.
Like, come on, can we have a little bit of privacy? But I see why they do it, because this is an uncharted territory. This is such a social experiment. I think the whole world is a social experiment, to be honest with you.
Always. I mean, who has the power? If I would, let's just say I was evil. Okay. The first thing I would think is, how can I keep track of all my minions?
Yeah.
And so we're going to give them new toys. And we did. It's COVID times, right?
Right.
So now we're
going to have
free cell phones.
Yeah. Bright, shiny things.
In fact, in the guise that you're getting a service for free. Why would they give you a service for free?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's that. I mean, I like free speech. I like the Constitution. Let me say that. Otherwise, I think they're all lining their own pockets. So it doesn't matter who's in office, because it's already known who is going to win. I mean, our vote, I don't know if our votes
Well,
matter.
if you ask the
Maybe.
right people, it's whoever's attached to the Illuminati bloodlines.
Yeah, of course, the Illuminati,
Supposedly, almost every president we've ever had is somewhat related.
See, and it goes back to the families that ran the country, that were the railroad tycoons and started electricity and all those people. I mean, I can get into a whole bunch of things like why they illegalized weed and all that stuff. But like, I mean, that's another show. But the theories are strong, and you don't see a lot of us conspiracy theorists around to talk about this stuff, so it's neat to talk about it with somebody else that
Depends
gets
how
it.
effective you are. Like when I was in jail, okay, I didn't talk about anything that should really matter, but the attention that I gathered was great. Everybody usually gets into religion or something, but I mean, all you have is talking or sticking to yourself. That's
Right.
it. So, but when I talk, I mean, kind of how we're doing here, we kind of gather an audience if you're good at it, And so what would happen is people would gather around the tables, and it looks like all these people are looking to me like a leader, whether they really are or not. There's way too many people giving me attention. So what would happen is before I even get into any kind of trouble, they bounced me around like 12 different times in this jail just because I was gathering followers. And if I wanted to incite a riot or something.
Yes, inciting a riot is a big deal.
That's not my goal, but way too many people were interested in me, and we can't have that. We're supposed to be the ones controlling this shit.
Yes. I mean, jail is a very good social experiment to sit in, like
there's good movies on that.
Yeah, observe what's going on, how people adapt to being incarcerated. That's a whole other story too. I want to talk about incarceration maybe next week. I don't know yet.
Okay.
CM Punk vibes. I don't know what that is.
I know what punk is.
I know what punk is. Is it a band? I'm so out of touch with reality. It's ridiculous.
I live in my world. Yeah. You guys participate.
Yeah. You're just living in it. Yeah. I kind of feel that way sometimes. Now, I think everything that's been leaked lately, like the 99% and the Illuminati, everybody knows about the Illuminati now, like all those conspiracy theories that Kanye West was an Illuminati, like whatever. I'm so sick of it. Yeah. Anyway, no, but seriously, I mean, if you want to talk about conspiracy theories,
let's talk about the Julaba. I want to hear more.
Blah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the older the conspiracies get, I mean, this has been around forever. There's probably documentation. I didn't really look into it on the early conspiracy theories that, like Roswell and all that stuff. Oh, and yeah, they wouldn't talk about aliens. And now this year, they're like, yeah, we have aliens.
You should have already known. The fact that they were making a military space fleet before they told you the truth at all, it already told me. Why do we need to protect our fucking planet from the outside if there ain't some shit there?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And why are we trying to colonize Mars?
I can tell you stuff on that, but I don't know if it's going to be, too deep of a hole to get into alien stuff. But if you want to dedicate an episode to that, I would love to.
Yeah, we're going to talk about aliens again.
And he's already come here. We already made contact
before,
a long time ago.
Aliens is always a good talking point. We can definitely talk about aliens.
And it'll take us back to George Bush and the Illuminati again. So it'll be fun.
Yes. I truly believe that George Bush Jr. was the devil. That's just how I feel.
I think it was a monkey. I saw a picture. I'll never forget it. It's like 50 different photographs of him and goofy faces, and then 50 photographs of monkeys making the exact same face next to each one.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, that could be
stupid. Like he forgets what he's talking about as soon as he starts talking. Even like popular nursery rhymes and shit. Like It fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice. That's you can only fool me a few more times. You know what I'm saying? That's a George Bush quote. I loved listening to him. I never liked politics until he was the president because it was real entertainment, not in the way that Trump is an entertainer and like he isn't meaning to give us such great entertainment.
Yeah. So he also like Dick Cheney ruled the world during his presidency. Honestly, he was a puppet master telling you what to do, and he was
That's a great
evil.
movie.
He's a villain. Like
Who isn't?
He had a defense. I mean, come on. He had a defense company, and he was going to make billions of dollars if you went to war. Why wouldn't you, with all the power that you have, start a war somewhere that would be a big moneymaker? Yes, and he shot his friend in the face.
That's why I did this, but I wasn't going to interrupt her.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Shot his friend in the face. Now apologize, bitch.
Yeah, God, like
just like that.
And he didn't even go to jail. Like, if you shoot your friend in the face, like, don't you at least do it time? Like
not if you're part of the elite.
Yeah.
Even some of these new movements, we will have to separate into another thing for the most part. If it goes for the agenda of those in control, if it supports what their ideas are, however abstract, you're basically working for them. Like someone once said, a lot of people think they're a part of the Illuminati, but they're really puppets themselves.
Right.
They serve someone else's agenda.
I mean, it is the butcher or the sheep. You're either the butcher or you're the sheep. And I would like to consider myself a butcher because I don't think like everybody else, like the new iPhone, woo, and I don't even watch TV. Like I have no idea what goes on in the real world. Like I will be
Apple is the devil. Look at that's a good conspiracy in and of itself. Their logo is the forbidden fruit with a bite taken out of it.
Yeah.
It produces more radiation than any other portable device.
Yeah. Cell phones are scary. Like, and Kim Kardashian's dad died of brain cancer back when the cell phones were like that big, and like of course.
Just holding this to your head for 2 minutes reduces the brain-blood barrier. So everything else is problematic after just 2 minutes.
Yeah, and so my phone.
Being on speakerphone isn't much better. You're just amplifying those waves.
Yeah. So I mean, we're all gonna die somehow.
Oh, we're definitely. Why do you think the lifespan is so short? That's what another thing worth investigating into. Really, is let's say Bible times, which we know isn't quite as accurate as our storybooks, but we definitely lived a lot longer in certain periods of history, and then went through rapid decline as we invented all kinds of fancy death machines.
That movie Idiocracy. Have you ever seen it?
Great film.
Yeah,
great film.
He was very good in that.
Mike Judge is amazing.
He is. King of the Hill cracked me up for years. Let me just say that. Like, Beavis and Butthead.
I sell cocaine and cocaine accessories.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I always thought that
King of the Hill actually is a pretty woke show. Dale is good for the conspiracy theories. Like, someone made a compilation of almost everything he ever said, just back to back played, and it's remarkable.
Yes. And he had his little friends.
Guns don't kill people, the government does.
And the government does. Like, I don't care who you are. People are silenced out there.
Have you seen one of these? I don't know if it's going to be close enough, but it's a straw. It's a light straw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We did Prepping 101, but that's another show that we should look into.
You did what? Repeat that?
Prepping 101, but we can also do a show about survivalists.
What is that? What is Prepping 101?
Oh, like prepping, like it's a whole thing. You're hoarding food, medicine, you have your bunker.
Okay. Well, saying prepping by itself doesn't, give me context. You could prepare for anything. So,
we can prep.
Preparing to cook the next meal. I'm boiling water on the stove.
Drive our new car. Anyway, so and it was a good. I had this guy I knew. He had MREs and he had a lot of them, and like he gave me a whole bunch for that show, and like it was really funny because like they were horrible, but they were better than jail food. So like I was like, and I was hungry at the time, so uh, yeah. But that's a whole other thing too that we could talk about the zombie apocalypse. I mean, the CDC has a protocol if this ever freaking happens. So let's talk about it happening because I think
George Washington was terrified of being buried alive. When he died, his request was to be laid outside for 3 days just to make sure he's dead first, that he
yeah,
stays dead.
yeah. People
So
get
there's fun
offended.
stuff there. And there's
Yeah,
something fancy about wooden teeth.
yeah. I I I always thought that
Benjamin Franklin was a Freemason,
yes, he was.
allegedly.
Absolutely he
Um,
was.
he had tons of bodies buried under his house. That's a little known fact as well. There's lots.
Yeah.
The conspiracy really is on why. Was it because he was a doctor? Was it because he's like a demented fuck? Here's some more fun stuff about on Benjamin Franklin. He wanted to make the state bird a turkey. Yeah, that fat wanted a turkey, not a beautiful red little bird.
Didn't he die of gonorrhea? Like I'm positive that is
I hadn't heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised with all the other unique facts about him.
because he liked the women of the night. He liked the prostitutes.
To live, don't live to eat, and he would go.
I mean,
Not to fat shame or nothing.
I think every decade has its own conspiracy theories. Watergate was a great one. I mean, it was the government. Like, there's no blaming it for no reason. They broke into a thing to get papers to destroy them for Nixon. You know, like.
Well, there's something reported about Trump. No, not Trump. It was Obama wanting to destroy hundreds of pages into Nibiru, the alleged Planet X.
Oh.
Yeah. So like
Why?
I mean, there's so many other things that we could dive into and working on time frames. But Nibiru, the best way that I understand it, and I could be wrong, and I'm sure there'll be tons of contradicting conspiracies out there to keep it confusing, but that's part of the plan. I mean, if you watch X-Files, some of these things are deliberately put out there to throw you off the trail.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that a lot of scientists talk about it is a planetary reset. The great star that was in the sky at the time of Jesus, supposed, might have been this planet, and we didn't have enough data till we lived and did science long enough to say that it comes around roughly every 2,000 years, which would make sense.
Yeah,
and it's a binary star of sorts, but because of the massive size of this planet and because it's basically like a big fireball, the basically magnetic structure of it as it passes, and if it doesn't hit us directly and it's passing, so there's a lot of stuff there too. If it comes near us, it still will make more or less all the biblical prophecies true, because the volcanoes will erupt, the sky will blacken due to an extension of that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll lose a great deal of life. I mean, little of humanity is going to survive. And then, and when you read, like, I believe it's Revelations that talks about it, and the rich will hide from the sun. That could be that big fireball of God, and hide in caves and under rocks. That's your underground Walmart tunnel system. You know,
Walmart tunnel system.
You ain't heard about that?
No,
it's been shown. No, okay. This is years old now. But there was a lot of earthquakes being reported.
Okay, we had one in Virginia,
high level, and it turns out it's not earthquakes at all. And footage later leaked to show some of what's going on. They're building an underground world. It's the best way to describe it. They're creating underground tunnels and connecting entire cities for whatever unknown reason to us. But the conspiracy theories say that basically, and I think a lot of these new movements and a lot of these new ideas are to inch us there. It's not just martial law. It's much, much more than that. When things get too bad, there'll be global famines. You won't be able to do next to anything. And the time will eventually become, they're saying, where they're going to advertise you free food and water at your local Walmart. As we should all know, Walmart is tied in with the government. Those thousands of bulb cameras in the store are actually there to monitor for terrorists.
Yeah.
In airports and certain places, they know you by name walking through the door. They got facial recognition software. You know what kind of
Facial
technology to use.
recognition. Oh my God, it's so
So
crazy.
so the Walmarts, supposedly there were being tunnels dug underground by these places, and everybody just thought it was earthquakes or something. They just knew there was a rumble. And similarly, another great conspiracy like this is skyquakes. Have you heard of skyquakes?
Oh yeah, vaguely.
The trumpet of Gabriel, as it were. People are hearing this noise. It's just like a long tones. Now we already know about harp, right? So it's not a far stretch to really understand what's really going on. But it's only one of two possibilities, really. It's either them experimenting with a very, like, let's say that there's a cloud tower up there. That's one way of looking at it. Something beyond our sight that can easily be hidden from the human eyes. That is putting out much larger decibels of this stuff. So they can have equipment up there and we wouldn't know. Especially with the advancements in technology we have, we wouldn't even need to go like take it down and recharge it or nothing. It would get all it needs from the sun, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the two ways that we might be replicating this noise and where it's coming from. But the other could be the drilling and the vibrations bouncing off of these underground systems.
Yeah.
Or it could be even both.
We're going to be old people in a matter of decades. I mean, there was an episode about that with Jesse Ventura, and under airports is where they're really starting it all. And then they connect the major city that the airport does, and then that city connects to another city. And it looks like a honeycomb, if you will, of underground.
It's all to usher you in when this happens. See, when we get into, I'm thinking, when I do that, I'm thinking of the barcodes on the back of the neck kind of visual.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to be stamping you or chipping you now. Mark of the beast, as some want to call it. I don't recommend anybody before they have to get any of that and just become more vulnerable to interference and third-degree burns, by the way. But they'll basically advertise the food and the water. You'll come in because you're fucking starving, right? You can't do anything else about it. So you come into these places and the government's made deals with these to give you food. And then they're going to usher you underground. And now you know all those places. So wherever you are in the world, there's probably a Walmart. It was in the U.S., and you can just go into the network, be ushered under. Nobody in the next part of the line, or a few people, I should say, because there are the occasional conspiracy theorists, right? But most people aren't thinking about where did he go after he left the line. They're thinking about, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I'm thirsty.
Yeah, they're like, what's the biggest hamburger I can eat right now? I'm on my newest iPhone and my brand new BMW. You know what I mean? Like, you wave some shiny happy things and everybody's like, right. Woo, and like, oh my God, it sickens me that money means so much, like, and the greed and the power. I mean, it's just sad because, like, the Federal Reserve was fucked from the beginning. Like, they used the top 10 families in the U.S.
Money is fake anyway. It's always been fake. When I was a kid, it didn't make any sense to me. How does paper representing something else, fucking seem like a good idea?
Call me naive, but I want to believe that the Constitution was written in such a way that we can honestly still follow it and not have the liberal or the conservative and, oh my gosh, I have to vote for one person and my personality is only one
dimensional.
Yeah. And I'm an independent.
Chris Rock said it best. I'm a liberal. Oh, no, he didn't say liberal. He said, I'm a Republican. Oh, I'm a Democrat. No, you're not. You're a goddamn fool. Yeah. Anybody who makes up their mind before they hear the issue is a goddamn fool. Chris Rock never scared.
Somebody said to me during election time, you would vote for Hillary? She's all about late-term abortion. And I'm like,
she seems evil as fuck to me.
Yeah, I mean, she is.
Like, if granted the alternatives, that would be how you have to make that decision. Mm-hmm. The lesser of evils. As if our votes even matter. Because that's this whole other thing. We're voting for other people to vote for you. More or less.
Mm-hmm. And then you got the lobbyists.
Which is another psycho game we play. Which I'd love for someone to come up with an actual replacement system instead of just saying, do away with everything. Come up with a better idea of what's going to happen when we do away with everything.
See, Franklin Roosevelt had it right. Like, he probably wasn't the first one to come up with welfare, but he was the one who implicated it and put it and made it reality. So, like, I didn't have a problem with Obama because he was trying something new. It didn't work, it sucked, but at least he was trying to do something new with healthcare, you know? Like, I think we're getting, I guess it kind of ties into
We got,
what we're
we got
talking about,
enough
but like,
time. I think we only got
yeah,
one or more scheduled things, so we're doing all right.
yeah. So, I mean, the, I think I agree with you. I think that people are stupid if they think that their vote matters. I think that we should get another form
I
of
wish I had $1 with me since we're talking about this, so I could fold it up and do that classic thing. Now you know what
yes,
I'm talking about.
the
For those
dollar
of you
thing.
that might not listening, if you fold up the different denominations, you can pretty much see their plans from the beginning. You can
Yes,
see the Twin
crazy.
Towers falling, burning up in smokes. You
Yeah,
know, it's wild. Also, if you draw the Kabbalah, the 6-pointed star, right? The Merkabah, there's tons of names for us. The Star of David. It depends which chapter of history you want to call it from. But if you draw that over the left circle on the back of the dollar bill, it spells the word Mason in the star. It
yeah,
only hits the letters to spell that word. So there's lots of little things there. If you look at like the Triforce, if you're Zelda fan, you know I'm talking about the 3 triangles that represent the Trinity or the 3 states of consciousness, right?
hmm
It's on every E. The reason why the letters are shaped deliberately that way. Now you got
yeah,
to realize, conspiracy nuts or not, you don't have to believe in magic or this kind of science. You just have to understand that other people do, and clearly they go at a great length to include it in their work. So
yeah,
they definitely believe this stuff. Otherwise, at the first conspiracy complaint, they would have changed it.
yeah.
So
And all
clearly
of
they
it.
believe.
And when conspiracy theorist is right, we're like, we're like,
You can
you're
just sit down and watch.
Nostradamus, woo! It's just funny. I think
That's
it's
how they
funny.
tried to stop Alex Jones. Is they'll let you rant. They try to get you all excited. They'll put you on TV right in the spotlight so that you can just freak out and rah,
Yeah,
and then you look crazy because you're manic and excited that someone's finally listening to you speak.
yeah. I kind of get that with this. Like, I'm like, oh my god, people care. But uh, I think that whenever we decide it's I can't believe people are still in the dark. I changed what I was going to talk about in the middle of the sentence. I, they don't get it still. It's been given to us, with the documentaries and the movies and all that shit. It's been documented, and yet people want to believe what they're saying to us.
People want to believe what's preferential. Like I think I said this last time. I'm not sure, but I talk about it a lot. Like people still believe those are clouds, and not all of them are. They're chemtrails being shot and
Right.
seeded through clouds. But it's been done for so long now, and it used to be just conspiracy to talk or think about it, that they just believe that's how clouds always look. But I like that Pink Floyd song, Goodbye Blue Skies, because I feel like my kids will never know what a fucking cloud looks like. They will
Right.
not know. We're going to have so much air pollution and like nano machines and barium and everything else we can spray up there. 9:45. Oh, we better hurry up and touch this last topic.
Yeah. Go ahead. What is
I
it?
thought we had a whole hour. So I guess we're moving on.
Sorry. Yeah, we
There was
we
a
ended
reason
early
why I
a
had
little
this
less.
life straw. It was kind of
Yeah.
a talking point. Okay,
I have it in my bug out bag. I'm ready
you
to
can lean
go.
over and drink from a lake with this, guys. It costs like $20 to get one of these, and you can use it many, many times and clean it and stuff if you want. It's an incredible filter. It's like 0.01 microns thin, I think. Incredible
Yeah.
stuff. But this is to help filter out a lot of pollutants and contaminants, plastic, crap in your water, etc.
Yeah. All the stuff that doesn't come out with the regular tap water. But
So,
I have a bug out bag. I'm ready. Like I need to get another life star because mine is a little old. But
that's a
yeah,
message
we'll
from
talk
you.
about we'll talk about survivaling. We'll talk about survivalists and getting ready for a
I'm not going to let that
pandemic.
derail me. It's just kind of a gateway to dive into fluoride.
Yes.
It was more of a visual aid for people watching.
Oh.
So fluoride is a neurotoxin.
Yeah.
A neurotoxin that should say it all right there. And it's reported, I don't know the right word, as it has all these health benefits. But we're going to dive into as fast as we can here in these last couple of minutes some of the truths of what it does and does not do, and what the CDC and the FDA says about it. Sound good?
Yep.
All right. And so it causes tons of side effects. I made a couple little bulletin notes here.
Yay! We have show and tell. This is awesome. Okay.
Well, I didn't make it as long as I normally do. I knew I would have fit a whole lot. So it causes tons of side effects. I mean, I could actually hold up a box, but I ain't going to do all that.
Right.
Neurological and endocrine dysfunction. It accumulates in sensitive tissues of the body. Here's a fun thing to think about. We're all forcibly drugged with it every day without our consent.
Yep.
In your tap water. Okay,
in your
USA
tap water and your toothpaste.
Now that we know the true facts, coming up here in a second about this stuff, we're one of the few people behind that's not removing it. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, says dental fluorosis, that's the name of the illness from fluoride, is a discoloration and mottling of the teeth from overexposure to fluoride. Fluoride is only helpful topically, and therefore swallowed or absorbed in your mouth. It's nothing short of poison. Good for your teeth, bad for everything else.
Yeah,
causes a myriad of side effects.
Yeah, it's really bad for your teeth. That's one of the side effects.
I used to use it growing up, and now I won't use anything short of charcoal or mint or whatever, wiser stuff. And I'm sure that, like, it has a slight effect for your teeth, but it's the curses are not worth the blessings. Here's just a couple of the things that you can get from fluoride. Seriously.
Yeah.
Skeletal fluorosis. So I told you about the bones, bone fractures, genetic damage, cell death, tumor and cancer growth, osteoporosis, sarcoma, bone cancer, fatigue, thyroid impairment. It inactivates 72 different enzymes in the body, causes muscle disorders, immune system and antibody impairment, eye problems, and even blindness and more.
They do that. They probably do this so we stay sick. That's why we haven't had a cure for cancer
yet. And then we go to big pharma for every little thing, and they don't help you either.
No.
Remember what I said in another video, because I'm sure I mentioned about the witch doctor, just moving the illness around to keep you dependent on the witch doctor.
Yeah.
The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, William Hersey, doctor for the EPA, said it best. If it goes into the air, it's air pollution. If it goes into the water, it's water pollution. If it goes into the public utilities and we pay for it and put it in for a purpose, all of a sudden it's beneficial public health measures. But pollution isn't a solution to pollution. I like that.
Okay, Captain Planet.
Well, yeah, it does kind of sound like that, don't it?
Yeah.
Fluoride also pollutes the water with arsenic. 90% of the arsenic comes from fluoridation. You caught me on the slurring bit now. Fluoridation chemicals creates arsenic in the water. The FDA classifies fluoride as a human carcinogen.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Here on this. The industrial grade fluoride that we already use in the water, it's already been pitched a long time ago that if they switched to a low arsenic pharmaceutical grade fluoride, it would save us $1 to $14 billion every year, EPA senior scientists are saying.
Yeah.
So we're drinking, and there's no way around it. The closest you can do is get bottled water, but then you got to worry about your other poisons and get BPA free plastics and shit like that. But the BPA plastics, by the way, get your life straw, folks. I don't make any money, by the way, advertising this. I should say.
Hey, Life Straw, we want a sponsorship.
Although I will say companies retweet stuff I do a lot. Like I'll do some goofy spinoff of whatever. Like I'll be like, when I die, all I ever wanted to be was reincarnated as a tree. And now thanks to the folks at whatever the company was, I can. Now you can become a gemstone. And so like I get goofy with their ideas and they post it. But no, I don't get anything out of this other than your safety.
Yeah, my safety, yes. I love it. All right, so this concludes another great episode. I thought we really did. It was well-rounded. We really hit home with the conspiracy theories. I think this was very good and informative. I hope you guys learned something at least, because we threw a lot of facts at you.
Don't trust the government.
Don't trust the government. That is number one.
or the X-Files. It does it better. Trust no one.
Yes, trust no one. Yeah.
What if our conspiracy theory is just to lead you sideways? You see, you're gonna have to do some research now.
Okay, so how can everybody get you on social media?
Facebook.com/Kevin Chaos Official. And of course, there's always the website if you want to check out other projects that I'm going to be working on here shortly, kevinsportal.com.
Kevin's Portal. Yay. And
I thought about logging in with that name, but I figured be consistent. So
yeah. You can get me on Instagram at RushTory, Tory, not I, and Tory Rush on Facebook. I'm gonna start a TikTok so I can promote this better. I'm not looking forward to it, but anyway, so thanks so much for tuning in, and we will talk next week. Thanks. Bye.